So starting off, what are some of the main barriers that adult students face when it comes to enrollment and persistence?
One of the things that we looked at a couple of years ago when we were going through the process of determining our online registration here at the college was the student experience and really being able to go in, register, pay, and also have some kind of a confirmation back that you were actually registered. And so although it sounds like it's something that would be really simple, what we were doing in the past didn't really allow our students to completely go through the whole registration process in a single click or two. It was very cumbersome, and really what we believe is we lost students. So the total user experience, as well as having access, were, we believe, some of the barriers that we had created for ourselves here. When you really think about it, most of these students that are looking for some kind of workforce, non-credit courses, they're just making decisions very randomly. And so if you don't have a system that's very user-friendly and creates that experience, chances are that they're going to become really frustrated and they'll go either look for another institution that can provide something for them, or else it's a potential to lose the registration completely, and they won't do any follow-up because we know that our students are working full-time jobs, are probably trying to take care of families, and so in that instance that we've got them, we want to make sure that the registration process is extremely user-friendly for them.
And circling back on another point you made about having sort of a common student numbering system that translates from the credit side to the non-credit side, why is it from a college perspective we still see the two as completely separate when from a learner's perspective, they're just enrolling in the college, they don't really care which, quote unquote side of house they're engaging with?
That's part of what we discovered is a barrier that we created for ourselves, because really when you think about it, either credit or non-credit, the total experience with the identifier, the S number, should be the same. And so over time here at Cuyahoga Community College, we kind of kept those separated. And so it was really time for us to really step back and kind of align it so that all of our students had the same identifier and also had the same experience, but didn't really separate them out into two silos like we had done before, the credit versus the non-credit. So that was really something that we had to think about and really take some time as an institution to kind of realize that S number is important, whether you're credit, non-credit, a community member, just trying to come in to take community ed courses, etc.
You guys recently implemented Destiny One as a student lifecycle management system. How has that implementation helped your learners overcome some of these customer-centric barriers you've been talking about?
That student number, that S number piece, I think that's a key to everything. A lot of our non-credit students, though they were students, they had no idea they were. So now they actually register online. They do their physical registration form online, and then they sign in with that S number. And the key to that is now they actually know that they have an S number, so they can go anywhere in the school. The other is the ease of online. I mean, they don't have to wait for someone to call them back. The other piece that Chris had mentioned was the enrollment center. Right now, a lot of individuals, because of our system that we had before, they went to the enrollment center or they had to contact them. That puts a lot of pressure on an enrollment center representative who might not necessarily know the programs and that. So now we're freeing up time for the enrollment center. So now those enrollment center individuals can actually counsel students, have conversations. It's so much better of a customer experience, user-friendly system. And from an administrative perspective, we can get information out so much quicker for the students. So if you say you want a class and we've got 15 people, we put a class in the system and within 5 minutes, it'll be put out there for people to register. That's huge. I mean, we used to have to wait 24, 48 hours because everything was manual.
So when you think about sort of the capacity you guys have to deliver that high touch, high tech experience that meets students' customer expectations, what impact do you think that's having on your ability to retain learners, not just over the course of a program, but as we know in non-credit education, when it's kind of continuing opportunities to upskill and reskill over the course of someone's lifetime?
Under the leadership of Dr. Alex Johnson, who's the president here at Cuyahoga Community College, we really had a focus and really are engaged in what access and completion. So not only is it important to make sure that the user experience on the front end allows students access into Cuyahoga Community College, but we want to make sure that we retain those students, even if they come in for a non-credit workforce. If there's 3 courses in a series to lead to a certificate, we want to make sure that they complete all 3 courses and actually obtain the certificate. So under his leadership, access and completion is really the goal here at the college, both on the credit side and the non-credit side. You know, you're right, you can eliminate all the barriers to come in, but if a student only takes one course out of 3, it may benefit them, but we really want them to get the certificate, get an associate degree, and really complete the series of courses.
And with Destiny has the feature of certificates. So we've now, since we've been implemented for about almost 2 years, we're looking at the new features, and one of them is the certificate. So for example, we have a certificate that includes 10 courses. So to Chris's point, if someone takes 1 or 2, now we can see in the system they haven't taken the other 8. So we can contact those students and let them know. So that really helps, you know, to Chris's point, continue and retain them and keep them here. And then once we have a new certificate program or a new program that might be interested, we can then email them because we know the ones who have completed.
The other really interesting point about that too is when you look at Cuyahoga Community College, we're 4 campuses, 2 additional facility sites. And we are the community's college. So in order to provide easy access and to provide courses that are relevant and to really help our community enhance their job skills or lead to an associate degree to go to a 4-year school, we always have to be thinking about this access and completion. It's really important for us. It's mission driven. Destiny now on the non-credit side really allows us to, it's more robust than we had before. So yeah, it's a great opportunity for us to do a lot more follow-up with students and enhance their overall experience.
And it also helps the community. You know, to Chris's point, we have recreation in there. We also have community ed and encore, which are people who aren't necessarily going for their certificate, but they're community-based for our community college. And so they feel like they're a part of the college.
From the perspective of that community growth piece, as you guys have shifted to this new system, how has it helped Tri-C ingrain itself further into its local community?
One of the programs that we offer here, it's called Encore, and it's for senior adults to be able to come in and take courses with us as part of their lifelong learning experience.
Yeah, so we, the Encore, to Chris's points, for 55 and over. And so we've noticed, and we do have 80-year-olds and 90-year-olds. We have people who've been with the program for 20 years, but we're starting to see a lot of the baby boomers are coming into it. They're very technology savvy. So in the past, they would literally sit on the phone for 2 or 3 hours listening to our classical music, waiting for an enrollment center representative to come to them. And so you're looking at about 1,500 students in just one area. So our fall session starts in September and ends in November. And so that fall session, you can have 1,500 students registering. So just imagine 4 people waiting on the phone for them, waiting for all those individuals. And so, you know, instead of those 1,500 people waiting on the phone, they're now able to register online. It was a little tricky in the very beginning because we're using the bundle feature and the certificate feature in Destiny, but we've really come a long way, and that's helped increase our enrollment from that standpoint. I would say probably almost 50% of those individuals, if not a little bit more, are using the online registration system for the Encore program.
As you guys are building out more and more certificate programs, and as you have that capacity to stay market responsive, are you looking at opportunities to build certificates that could stack into associate's degree programs and sort of trying to find ways to further integrate the non-credit program that tends to live on the periphery of the college into some of that more core programming that's offered by the quote-unquote main campus?
Yeah, so we have 6 Center of Excellences. They build the credit and non-credit. And what that allows to happen is we call it a course reference number. We call it a CRN. So with the different CRNs, having a non-credit student be able to be with a credit student in the same class, then those individuals, if you take 2 classes for the non-credit, you can go ahead and that maybe would contribute to 1 credit on the credit side with the associate's degree. The other is the stackable certificates or the pathways that we have. So starting off as an STNA and being able to go into, the moving in your career. So you start something, you can get into industry, be able to work, and then once you have that work experience, you can go ahead and get into the credit program and move up in your career.
Also, one of the missions of Cuyahoga Community College is then to work with some of our 4-year institutions within Northeast Ohio so that we can then take our students who have the associate degrees and allow them entrance into some of our 4-year institutions so that they can complete their bachelorette degree.
So moving to the idea of efficiency then, how has this level of self-service functionality supported staff operational efficiency?
What we've been able to do is wrap all this in now to a college-wide approach, where if you go into any one of our campuses or facilities, any one of the enrollment center staff can take you to a self-serve kiosk and they can assist you in the registration process if you're actually on site. That was a huge fundamental shift for us. So what happened then was it took the dedicated enrollment center staff for non-credit and workforce, and now it's allowed them to provide students with some other wraparound services that we just didn't have time to do in the past. There's also some efficiencies in the way that we create the CRN numbers now. So if you really think about it, and Suzanne can expand on it, we had one individual within workforce that was creating probably over 3,000 CRNs. And so now each one of the programs, they directly go into Destiny and they create their own CRNs. So there's been a lot of efficiencies across the board to allow the staff to really concentrate on not only the student service piece of it, but expanding that in trying to help them with some wraparound. And it also may include, what opportunities are there here at the college for financial aid, for scholarships, some of the things that we never really focused before on with non-credit students. Now we kind of have the time to do that and to really guide them through a completely different academic experience than before.
And then from an administrative perspective, it really helps individuals. So like for myself and my team members, we can go ahead and put that stuff in the system and it gets so quick that now we can think about, hey, what else do we want to offer you can do?
Yeah, I mean, when you really think about it, it was a huge cultural shift for us here at Cuyahoga Community College on a lot of fronts. Not only from the technical aspect of the new platform, but also taking a look at all of our business processes. And again, I've said this before, all the barriers that we created for students, regardless of where they were at home, at one of our campuses. So it completely shifted our entire thought process on the non-credit community registration piece.
What kind of revenue and enrollment growth has Tri-C experienced since implementing Destiny 1?
We do look at the enrollment from the sense of the online registration. So I do have some figures in front of me. I'm just going to reference my papers, but one of them is we've started looking at a lot more online classes just to help with the trends as well as the individuals that we have. And just from an online course perspective, we have about 70 people who have registered already since July in online classes, and about 30% of those individuals have registered online. Now, the reasons they might not have registered online could be they got scholarships, or the company is paying, and those certain things they can do online, but from a general perspective, it might be a little bit easier to do an in-person or on the phone perspective. So, I mean, having 30 people is just unbelievable. And then just from a general online, and this is all non-credit across the board. All non-credit across the board, we saw a 33% increase right when we implemented the system. So that was a year. We're now 2 years in, we've seen a 24% increase. And we still have March, April, May, and June to do. So we still have 4 months, we're already at a 24%. And then I looked at the numbers from when we first had our original system, so the over 2 years, we have had a 64% increase. So over a 2-year period of time, 64% more students are registering online from when we originally, since we've implemented. And I mean, that was the whole purpose of this, was that growth. And that really shows exactly the purpose of having a user-friendly online system. You're not looking at necessarily, I mean, I want to put quotes, technology savvy person. So, I mean, individuals who are going on the system have found it so easy to use, just like, a general shopping experience. And I think that that is really a tribute to the work that we did here, as well as the work that Destiny had done to really make this system so that it works really well for our students and can help with that increase.
Is there anything you'd like to add about this shift and the broad impact it's had on the customer experience that you're able to deliver to learners enrolling in non-credit programs?
We are in a much better place today than we were 3 years ago. Not only have we enhanced the student experience, but we've also found some efficiencies in our enrollment centers. We've looked at it now, and we're taking more of a college-wide approach to the non-credit student, which was a lot different than what we had done before in the past. And, we just couldn't be happier with the fact that instead of our individuals on the phone trying to take registrations, we can now focus on some wraparound services for students. So really, in total, it's just a completely different experience for a non-credit student coming into Cuyahoga Community College than it was previously. So, we couldn't be happier with the results, and we'll continue to grow some of the other enhancements that Destiny also offers that we really just have not had a chance to look at yet.
The fact of information being able to get out there quickly, and for me is, I'm in the I guess student side of it, so really having a lot more enrollment and having those individuals who call us looking more from a counseling perspective, I think is key. They aren't always asking us those questions that they can find online. So I think that really helps with the efficiency and the support that we've received.